Don't bring toys to the park unless your kids and you are ready and willing to share. I don't think it's fair that you're going to bring toys to a place where there's going to be a bunch of kids and you are not willing to share the toys with the other kids.
People came for this mom because she's advising parents on how to train their kids. She's telling parents that whenever you're bringing your child to the park and your child is bringing in toys, make sure you tell them to share. If you're not going to share your toys, don't give your children toys to the park. Huh? Basically, what she's trying to say is she went to the park with her kids, of course. Then there were other kids with toys. Probably our children or any of our child wanted the toys of the other kids, and those ones said no. And she's like, why would you bring your child to the park if you don't want to share toys with other children? So she's paying. Anyways, people came for her and all of that. People were like, no means no. Boundaries means boundaries. You should be the one to train your own child on what to do. What is your take? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. Let's go ahead and watch people's reactions together. And I'll be back to share my thoughts at the end of the video.
Toys to the park unless your kids and you are ready and willing to share.
No. Sharing is caring, but no means no. My kids always share. They bring water guns to the splash pad all the time. They usually bring like 2 each, honestly. But this last time they each picked one water gun that they wanted to bring with them. And they were playing, they were sharing, other kids were playing with the water guns while they were on the dry playground, and they were having a fine and dandy time. But this little girl kept constantly asking, she let my kids let them play. But she kept asking for the water guns. She kept asking for her own water gun. And I'm like, oh, you're going to have to go ask your adults to get you a water gun because my kids brought what they wanted. They only have one each. She's like, well, can I just have one? I'm like, no. And she kept asking, kept getting in between them, kept asking if she could play with it. She was like the same size as my daughter. So maybe 5 or 6. Could talk clear, full sentences. And my son is 8, and he's very sarcastic, but at the same time, he's very, quiet. So he ended up just stopped playing with the water gun, and he hid it under my towel, and he's like, don't let anyone else take it, okay? I'm like, okay, I got you. And the little girl comes, sure. She's like, do you know what the water gun is? I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't. It must be out there lost somewhere. So, yeah, this is the backlash. It's like the backlash of it. It's like, yeah, my kids bring what they want. They share, they play, they have a good time. But there are just kids that don't take no for an answer. Like, no. No. We don't bring enough of everything. Go to Dollar Tree and get some. You can get a 4-pack for $1.25.
Don't bring toys to the park unless your kids and you are ready and willing.
Listen, there are things as parents that we just really inhale our own smoke about so much that I think that it affects how we act in the real world and how we act with our children. I've seen a lot of duets or stitches, whatever, on this video that are kind of like, I'm not so sure about that. And I don't think you actually mean that either. Because here's the deal. If I'm trying to buck against generational norms and create this new path of parenting or whatever, I'm going to passionately say things like, our kids don't have to share, right? Our kids don't have to hug people. All of those things that we say to try to really delineate and just draw a line in the sand from the old ways of parenting. And I think that my kid doesn't have to share is a big one of those that in practice, you don't really mean. I have a park kid. We have been going to the park since before he could even crawl or walk. We would just go and watch the big kids. And our rule has always been, if something is so special to you that you don't want it to get broken, it stays in the house. And that's on taking care of your things. Secondly, if you don't want to share something, don't bring it to the park. And here's why. If you bring a toy to the park, all the kids are going to want to play with it. And if your kid is at the age or at the maturity or at the socialization level where it's not going to harsh their buzz to say No, I don't want to share. No, I don't want to share. No, I don't want to share. Then they should just leave it at home. Because putting that burden on them to police just like everybody else's behavior, in my opinion, is not fair, and that's not why we go to the park. What we do say is, if we take this to the park, we've broken many toys at the park. It are the memories that you're going to make, maybe meeting a new friend or making up a new game or something, worth this dollar store toy getting broken. And my child is 7, and a lot of the time he's like, yeah, I don't really care. And he enjoys the time that he plays with friends with it. So there's that from a parenting philosophy perspective. But overarchingly, in my opinion, and my family's like law, it's a community space. And we don't go into community space with private property and rub it in everyone's face that they're not allowed to play with it. We live in a place, we've always lived in cities, and there are varying degrees of kids that have a lot and kids that don't. So much so that my kid like regularly gives things away at the park. If he sees that a kid really, really likes something and he's like, I can get a new one, he understands that. If you have a toy that your kid does not want to share, I'm not talking about like a family heirloom or a lovey or a comfort item, something like that. Kids are generally pretty understanding of another kid being like, no, I don't want to share this. They don't really care. Or you hold it or whatever. But if they're bringing a toy to a public community space, they need to share it. That's just my opinion. And that's a good opportunity to teach them about community and about friendship and about resources. If it's like a truck or a plane or something that they want to play with and they don't want any other kids to play with it, don't bring it to the park.
Don't bring toys to the park unless your kids and you are ready and willing to share.
Well, let me know in the comments if you believe that this mom is overstepping. It's wash day. However, I want to talk about this creator that Mom Talk is coming after. Kiara Isabella, I'll link her below. She essentially, you heard what she said, but she essentially was like, your kids need to share if they're taking toys to the park. And personally, that I feel like is definitely an overstep, because she's trying to parent somebody else's kid or parent the parent. And we just went through a lot in terms of sharing and germs and all that kind of stuff. And truly, like, boundaries are boundaries. Like, kids need to start understanding boundaries and respecting boundaries, and shouldn't be guilted into sharing or playing with somebody else's toys. Like, that's how we end up having a lot of the issues that we have today, is people not respecting boundaries. Yes, we all want to share and all that kind of stuff to make society a better place, blah, blah, blah. However, boundaries is where it starts, because a taker will continue to take as long as a giver is giving. It's simple math. Sharing is not always caring. Sometimes sharing just means you have less than what the frick you had before. And boundaries, people. Don't forget to like and follow, of course. See you later.
Don't bring toys to the park unless your kids and you are ready and willing to share. I don't think it's fair that you're going to bring toys to a place where there's going to be a bunch of kids and you are not willing to share the toys with the other kids.
Other children are not entitled to my child's toys at the park. I'm not responsible for those children's happiness and their fun at the fucking park. Okay? What I bring for my son to play with, that's his stuff, baby. That's his stuff. If he would like to share with the other kids,
No problem.
all right. But I'm not going to force him to do that at all. That's his stuff. I bought that stuff for him, not for everybody else. What are you even talking about? So I bring my motherfucking wallet. I have to hand out $1 to all the parents out there too, because I can't be bringing nothing now and not share it with the whole class. And I don't like that kind of energy anyway. I don't give a fuck if my child eats some damn chips in the class. They ain't got to fuck share with everybody. You got enough to share? No. He is not responsible for your kids. All right? Your kid can go play on the jungle gym. That's for everybody, baby. That's for everybody. Whatever the equipment and stuff they got at the park, that's for everybody. But what I bring for my son, that's for him. Thank you.
Don't bring toys to the park unless.
Serious question. If you are playing with your cell phone, can I walk up to you and take it out of your hands and you'll be okay with it after I say to you, it's okay, you have to share? Second thought, have you considered neurodiverse children who may have very specific toys that only they want to be playing with and no, they do not wish to share? Third thought, have you considered that maybe your children are entitled and that's a problem because not everything in the world is just theirs for the taking? Okay, thanks, bye.
Don't bring toys to the park unless your kids and you are ready and willing to share. I don't think it's fair that you're going to bring toys to a place where there's going to be a bunch of kids and you are not willing to share the toys with the other kids. I feel like that's just wrong.
See, I feel like this situation presents a beautiful opportunity for you to teach your children valuable life lessons that they can learn in real time. Starting off with fairness. Not everything in life is always going to be fair. So when you see another child at the park with a toy, it doesn't mean that you have to have a toy as well. It just is what it is. And that's when you as a parent teach your child about fairness and have them understand that not everything in life is always going to be fair. And it's okay. Because there's going to be a time where your child has a toy and another child doesn't have a toy. And it's okay. This is also an opportunity for you to teach your children about boundaries. What I mean by that is your children should be able to ask my children, hey, can I play with you? Can I use your toy with you? And if my children say yes, then by all means, they should all be able to play together with that toy. But if my children say no, it is your child's responsibility to respect my children's boundaries. Because I teach my children that no is a complete sentence. So if they don't want to do it or if they don't want to share it, they are not obligated to just because you feel like they should. So that's when you as a parent teach your child about boundaries and respecting other people's boundaries. And I feel like the last learning lesson we could learn in this situation is respect. Respect in the sense of just because you have an opinion and just because you feel a certain way doesn't mean that everyone has to conform to what you want just because you want it. You also have to respect what other people want and accept that. You can have a difference in opinions and still be able to coexist with another individual as an adult or as a human being in general. Because if you ever approached another parent on a playground and told them that their child is obligated to share the toy that they paid for with other children on the playground and risk it being broken or being stolen or being damaged in some form or fashion, you're going to get looked at like you're crazy. You are allowed to have this opinion and you are allowed to have these big feelings and these big emotions. But no, my children are not sharing their toys with another child if they don't want to.
Don't bring toys to the park unless your kids and you are ready and willing to share. I don't think it's fair.
Ma'am, respectfully, one, mind your business. Two, we're not doing this. Y'all are taking this phrase, sharing is caring, way too far and way too literal. It's weird when adults force their children to share toys with random strangers when their own child does not want to share their toys. Do you share your cell phone with people? Do you share your lunch with random people at work? Do you share your money with other people? No. So why are you forcing your children to do something that you as an adult would not do? Now, don't get it twisted. I understand that children need to learn the concept of sharing, but they also need to understand that no is no, and that they don't always have to say yes to people just because they ask for it. It almost seems like she wants the other children to share their toys. We're going to circle back into the fact that she mentioned in another video that she doesn't allow her child to bring their own toy or something along that line. But it almost seems like she wants the other child to share their toy with her child because she doesn't want to deal with a possible temper tantrum. And unfortunately, this type of behavior will only escalate. Like, where do you think those kids who feel entitled at birthday parties to get a gift because their sibling or their friend is getting one because it's their birthday? Like, it comes from parents like this. She claims that there are parents that have the same opinion as her. Your comment section says otherwise, even though you're claiming that TikTok isn't pushing the comments that agree with you. Like, that's not how that works.
To bring or buy my own toys. Apparently, we don't have any toys. Baby, if only you knew how many freaking toys we had in this house. But if we want to play with toys, we can play with our toys at home. We're going to the playground so we can actually play.
So you leave your son's toys at home, but you want other children who bring their toys to play with at the park to share with your child.
Make it make sense.
So much for teaching your child how to share.
A lot of comments are like, oh, I don't want to share because what if your kids are sick? I don't want to spread germs. Baby, you're literally at a playground that is public, that has never been cleaned and probably will never be cleaned. What are you talking about, germs? And any sane parent is not going to go to the park if their child is sick. That's just ridiculous.
That one is just funny. Only because, did you not see Impetigo Mom? The mother that brought her child with Impetigo to Disney. Yeah, there are some parents that will take their sick child to daycare, to school, to Disney,
Yeah.
to the park. So, that argument is irrelevant. Perhaps you should focus on working with your child on accepting rejection, accepting that no means no, and to respect other people's boundaries. Because even though you're saying that your child is 2 and that you're working on that, something isn't clicking, clearly. So maybe you should focus on that instead of what parents are bringing with their child to play at the park with.
Bring toys to the park unless your kids and you are ready and willing.
Okay, I'm gonna try to do this in one take, but big no to what she is putting out there about not bringing toys to the park. And this is why I disagree. We had a similar situation at our favorite park. This park has a Hot Wheel track around one of the play structures. Joe, my son, is a car fanatic. Like, he has so many cars. It's ridiculous. Anyhow, he likes to take them to the park. So from our experience, I have decided that he can take 4 cars. That's the max amount of cars because 2 cars fit in each of his pockets.
Okay.
So he can take 2 of his favorite cars and 2 lesser value cars. Dollar Tree, Walmart brand, Target name brand, whatever, right? Not Hot Wheel, not Matchbox. Now the favorite cars are his to play with. They are not for sharing. And the other cars are shareable because if they get broken or taken or left there or lost, like, he's not emotionally attached to those like he is the favorite cars. And I cannot deal with the fallout because it literally breaks my heart. So we did that. He brought his 1 favorite car and 2 shareable cars. And one child wanted to play with his favorite car and he told them, no, sorry, this is my favorite car. You can't play with this, but you can play with these. I will share these with you. The other child did not like that. The other child went and got their mother, and then the mother came and talked to me. The mother says, my son is trying to play with your son, but your son is not sharing one of his cars. And I told her, yes, that car is not shareable. My son did offer 2 other cars that your son can play with. And she said, he doesn't want to play with those cars. He wants to play with that car. So I said, I understand. However, it's not shareable. My son is setting a boundary. He cannot play with that car. So please let your son know that car is not available. And she asks me, what is it that I'm trying to teach my son? And I told her, again, I'm teaching him to set boundaries. He is offering another option for your child. He can't play with the favorite car, but he can play with these 2 other cars. So his choice now would be to play with those cars or to not play with the cars at all. So she gets down to her son's level and she says, you can't play with those cars because this mommy is teaching her son to be selfish. We were being fucking cordial. And it was so fucking uncalled for. Like, I was so mad. Beyond, like, I'm just thinking about it makes me mad all over again. So I smelled a dozen roses and I blew out a dozen candles. Because, you know, we're at a park and I teach my son not to put his hands on other people, even though she absolutely deserved to get smacked. So I sent him off. You are no longer a part of this conversation. Continue playing with your favorite car. Give me those other 2 cars. So I told the mom, these cars are no longer an option for your son. I don't know what to tell you. But my son's gonna go play. And what your son does is what your son does. And she continued to speak and I ignored her because I was not trying to get in trouble that day because she was really testing my patience. So in the end, I feel like if you're gonna take your toys to the park, maybe take less value toys so that those can be shared. But at the end of the day, if you or your child choose to bring toys to the park, it is entirely up to you about whether you share or not. Other children need to learn that just because they see it, just because they want it, doesn't mean that they get it. And if they really, really like a toy, Mention it to the parents. The parents should maybe take note of that toy that they really, really liked that another kid had. And that could be a birthday present. That could be a gift from Santa. It could be, you know, if they're old enough, an academic achievement award. You know, you did really well in school. Here's this toy that you wanted that other kid had at the park. You know, so do with that what you will. And happy Friday. Bye.
Don't bring toys to the park unless your kids and you are ready and willing to share.
Hello everyone, just a quick friendly reminder, or like a warm suggestion, whichever one tickles your pickle. Whenever you come online to give a think piece, you're supposed to put thought into it. That's the name, right? Think piece. You're supposed to think about what you're saying. I feel as though these think pieces are just becoming pieces. No thoughts, just vibes, because what the fuck are you talking about? This is actually, and probably even clinically, insane. There's no way that you thought that this was the answer rather than just teaching your child that not everything belongs to them and that no means no. I feel like some of you just have children for the aesthetic, which is insane because you're quite literally raising human beings who have to function in society. Do y'all not get that? You have to teach your children that no means no and not everything belongs to them, because one day they're going to be adults. And those adults will not be able to accept that no means no and not everything belongs to them, which can lead to a plethora of fucking problems. Are you picking up what I'm throwing down? I'm not gonna lie, some of y'all make me nervous and give me heart palpitations. Your kids deserve better. Please be better. Thank you. Peace and love. Talk to you later.
This woman really sat up here and said, stop bringing toys to the park with y'all kids because it's not fair to the other kids if your kids don't want to share. And I thought she was playing at first, but she was dead serious. Like, girl, if you don't go on somewhere, y'all act like somebody can't tell y'all kids no. That's the problem nowadays. Y'all not telling y'all kids no enough. They not too young to learn boundaries. No is no. It's a good thing to teach your kids to share, but it's also a good thing to teach your kids how to accept rejection and how to accept boundaries. You're not going to always get what somebody else got. If my daughter's sitting at the park enjoying her apple slices and her high C and you didn't bring little new nothing to eat, that's on you. I mean, it's a public park. We don't know you. You don't know us. Y'all be too comfortable with strangers for me, honey. You don't know how folks live their life at home. The park come with toys included for free. So you better go tell your child to go get on the swings, go climb on the monkey bars, go get on a little seesaw or something. Because when I go to the park, I'm going to bring my child whatever I feel like they need. If it's a blanket, if it's some snacks, if it's some extra toys, if it's their tablet, we coming with it. And if my child chooses to share their toys, that's fine. But if my child say no, then guess what? No is no.
What you mean? Don't bring my kids' toys to the park if they don't want to share. People love to get on this here app and tell people how to raise their kids and what to do with their kids. Baby, sweetie, that's called a boundary. Yes, my kids know how to share and they do share, but if they don't want to share, they don't have to share. And that's okay, because you know what? Kids don't always share with them. And they have the understanding that they don't have to share with them. Like, the audacity of y'all. And y'all raising these weak-ass kids thinking that everybody got to do what they say. Everybody got to fall in line and do what they want. And give me your toy. Give me your juice. Give me your snack. Give me. No, it does not work like that. Like, you better follow me. Come do what I want to do. That's called entitlement. That child is entitled, and it's the parents' fault. My child ain't gotta share with your child. My child is not gonna be mean about it. But if they don't want to share, they're not gonna share. They'll tell your ass in a minute, no, it's mine. I don't want to, and that's their right. They have their right to say no. No means no for a child as well. Like, what do you mean? Don't bring the toys to the park if they don't plan on sharing. What? Cause how that sound? How does that sound? Make it make sense.
Don't bring toys to the park unless your kids and you are ready and willing.
This mom says it's cruel to bring toys to a park and not share because other kids are going to want to play with it. And to her, that's just cruel. No, those are their toys that their parents bought with their money. If you want your kids to have the same toys, maybe you should work harder to get a job that pays more so you can give your kids the toys that family gave their kid to play with at the park. And if you think families need to stay home because their kids don't want to share their toys, you need to stay home. Kids don't have to share, especially their own toys. That is theirs. That is theirs. It's not yours or the community's toys to use. That's why there is a public park for you to use the public park to play with your child. Yo. Honestly, be so for real.
The fact that we need to teach our kids how to share, we still need to teach them boundaries. We still need to tell them no means no. We still need to tell them that once somebody tell you, I don't want to give you this one, take this one, accept it. Don't fight. Even when the child is crying, you need to talk to the child and be like, she said no, and that's no. Don't worry, I'm going to get you something similar. We need to teach these children things like this because these are the children that grows to be an adult and start acting anyhow. They don't take no for an answer. They think that they deserve everything in this world. They think that they can have anything they want to have. That is not how life is. Sometimes you want something, you really like that thing, but because it's not for you and you ask and the person like, no, I don't want to share. It is what it is. That is life. Yes, you need to teach your kids how to share because sharing is caring, of course. But then if your kids don't want to share, they don't want to share. The idea of telling your kids or taking only the toys you want your kids to share at the park doesn't actually really make sense because kids have a lot of toys and they would like to they play with so many toys. Look at the example of that woman that says our kids takes 2 toys, 2 cars that he doesn't want to share, and then 2 that he wants to share. Doesn't mean that she doesn't teach her child how to share, and doesn't mean that the child doesn't want to share, right? So then 2 of the ones that he knows that he don't want to share because number 1, that might be very expensive. Number 2 is his favorite ones, right? And he doesn't want to share it. Those ones that he still want to share doesn't mean that he doesn't like them. He likes them, but he can let it go. If anything happens, he can let it go. So you cannot say those are the only ones he should bring. So the ones that he really like, he should only be playing with them in the house. What if he wants to play with them at the park? So because of your own kids, he's not supposed to bring those toys to the park. When will you start teaching your own kids about boundaries and when somebody say no means no? Look at the other parents telling that child like the mom doesn't want to share because she's teaching her child how to be selfish. That is not selfishness. That is not what selfishness means. If the kid is only on his own with all his toys by himself and he has a lot of fancy toys and the mother is like, no, don't come close to my kids. My kids doesn't want to share, da, 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 da. Maybe that's selfish. But he has like 3 toys, if I can recall. Then he's like, I don't want to share this personal one. You can take this too. That is generous enough. You have options for you to even pick. But the ones that he doesn't want to give you, that is the one that you're interested in. Then definitely you're the one that have problems. It's your child that has a problem. So I don't get whereby you telling parents not to let their child bring some certain toys to the park just because of your kind of children that don't take no for an answer. And I feel like the high time parents start teaching their children about boundaries, the better. Let them know reality of life. Let them know that you cannot always have some things. Let them know that no matter how fancy your toys are, no matter how plenty your toys are, you will definitely see someone that has something that you like that you don't have. And you might not be able to have it because your parents cannot afford it or because you can't just have it. Like, that's just life. You need to let them know that that's life. And when somebody tell you no, respect that. Respect people's boundaries. Respect when somebody tell you, no, I don't want to share. No, don't touch it, don't touch it. Respect it. You need to let your children know that. Not when somebody say, no, I don't want to share it. I don't want to share this one. I don't want to share this one. And you're telling your child, oh, don't worry, that child is selfish. I'll get you your own. What is your take? Will you say it's selfish for a child not sharing their toy, or you will say it's boundaries? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Respectfully, it's your favorite girl again, Maria Davids. And thank you all so much for tuning in today's video. I hope you enjoyed this one. And don't forget to like and share and subscribe. And I'll see you in my next one. Bye. Bye.